ಇದು ಶೆಡ್ ಲೈವ್ ಅಂತ ಬಿಡಿ. Very good afternoon, students. Today, I'm going to discuss with you two important literary pieces. One is a short story, and one more is another piece of writing. First, we will see a short story written by Nikolai Gogol, and the name of the short story is The Overcoat. It is regarded to be one of the famous short stories of the writer Nikolai Gogol. Is regarded as one of the prominent writers of 19th century Russian literature. He is noted for his comedy and about his social short stories. So this particular story, to speak few things about the author, is a son of a landowner. Gogol was born in the year 1809, and his family owned an estate, and he was in the initial stage he was not interested in education. He wanted to discontinue, and he moved uh, back to some other place, and he was appointed as a clerk in the government office, but he is not at all satisfied with himself, and he quit his job and he went to some other place in order to improve his career in writing English prose and poetry and short stories. So he has published many things. The Portrait and the Notes of the Madam, set in the same this one St. Petersburg, where he combines a dream-like blend of fantasy and other features. The Inspector General was staged in the year 1836. Gogol spent next 12 years in abroad, living mainly in Rome. During this voluntary exile, he completed Dead Souls, which was published, which was written in the year 1842. And later, in the same year, 1842, he published the short story entitled The Overcoat. And most of his stories which deal with the social aspects of his society. And this particular story is written in simple form, and it is a satire, and it is very realistic in form. And this particular story is narrated in the third person, and this is set in St. Petersburg, Russia. And let us come to this particular story. This overcoat, look at the title, The Overcoat, which deals with am I visible to you? Students, am I visible? Am I visible? Okay. This one, it is in a third person narration. The entire setting of the story is set in St. Petersburg, Russia. Sir was telling you about St. Petersburg. It is a city, it is like a Bombay, where lots of rich people live. And it is the place filled with so many people. So many people. So let us see how the short story develops. The overcoat is set in St. Petersburg. The real world of the city is finally attracted with the word of so many people. And it is a world inhabited with so many strangers. So many strangers, and so many people come there to occupy their places, or they come there to work in order to lead their life. So this particular story is the main character is Akaki Bachbekin, and is a person with lots of simplicity, and is a middle-aged man, and We are not given any information about his marriage life, about his parents. And he works in the government firm as a clerk, as a copyist. As a copyist. So the story is narrated in a realistic manner by the narrator. It is a third person narration, and we are given the daily routine of Akaki Bachmakin. Akaki Bachmakin, that name which stands for shoe. His mother has desperately kept this particular name, shoe, and even he was not at all satisfied with his life. When he comes to St. Petersburg and he was appointed in the government sector as a copyist, and he is having a dull routine. What is his work? He walks to his office making copies of the letters, returning to his small room which is rented by a landlady. He first is rented with a lady there. I mean, landlady has given him a small room there, and only work is of this Akaki Bachmakin is he has to go to his office. He knows only going to the office, only is interested in his work, only is interested in work. And next line, the development of the story, we are given information about his physical appearance. He is a small and his face is pockmarked. His hair is somewhat reddish and even looked somewhat blind. Very important. The physical appearance of Akaki Bachmakin is a pockmarked, and he looks somewhat reddish, and he looks a little bit of a blind person, and he is getting thin on top, and he has a wrinkled cheeks, and he has got a wrinkled cheek, and the climate of St. Petersburg is bitter, cold, and nobody has helped Akaki get this appointment when he began working. Many of his higher ups superiors did not come to know and who has helped him to get this particular job. And he was always seated in the same place. He never used to look here and there. He never used to talk to his colleagues. He never used to talk to his colleagues, and his colleagues used to tell about him as an ordinary fly, and they used to make fun of Akaki Bachmakin, and he's not at all interested. One day he loses his temper and tells them that I am your brother, treat me in a normal way. I am your brother. I am your brother. Later in life, he just is treated normally by other friends. And as he was working, because he is a very, very devoted person, as he was working, and he was told by the superiors that his promotion is going to be, he is promoted to the higher level. But he is not at all interested for the promotion. He wants to remain in the same place because he doesn't know how to do the work when he is promoted. Promoted. And he finds it complicated. He rejects the promotion and he is left to his copywriting again. Copying is the only thing which leaves Akaki happy and contented. And only he is interested in his work. Only he is interested in his work. And the world around him doesn't bother him. The world around him doesn't bother him. The other possession of Akaki is he's having an overcoat. Overcoat, bitter cold, no? He has to wear the overcoat. And usually in Petersburg, the weather is very chill and it is -1 or -10 degree. So he's wearing that overcoat for many, 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 many years. It turned out to be nearly reddish from its original green color. When we are wearing the same dress again and again, again and again, when we keep on washing it, it becomes, it loses its color. The original color of the overcoat is green, but now it looks quite reddish. Its color is very low, and it is an old overcoat which is so much patched and stitched that he can wear it. And so many years he is wearing that overcoat, and the collar is very low because it has been cut. Because if there is a patch here, if the tailor needs some the same piece of cloth, he used to cut it from the collar of the overcoat and he used to paste it there. And so much of patched one, and it is stitched, and it is fit no longer to be worn. He had the knack of passing through the window. Sometimes he used to come to the window and he was planning to throw it to the dustbin, but he is not in a position to throw it to the dustbin because only possession, because he doesn't have money to buy the new clothes. He doesn't have the money to buy the new overcoat. That's why. And let us see what happens. He is satisfied with only the job, and he pays no attention what is going on around him. The food habits of Akaki Bachmakin consisted of only the cabbage soup. Sometimes he used to eat beef. Sometimes he used to eat with onions. He never notices the taste of the food he eats, and what even if the flies just fall on the food, he used to eat it. With his stomach is When his stomach is full, and he goes back to his own place and starts copying the letter. Even he works in home, the office work he works it at house. Akaki would never venture to meet his friends. Very important thing to be noted. He never went out to meet his friends, and he has no friends of his except for the pleasure that he takes in copy making. He doesn't have, he has the friends, but he's not too much of attached to them. He goes to the office to work, and he comes back home and continues his work. He never ventures out to meet his friends. That is what it is given there. And there are no exciting moments for Akaki Bachmakin, but he's happy with the yearly salary of 400 rubles. He is to get only the 400 rubles. Is ninth class clerk's time. That means he has been appointed as a clerk and he's remained as a clerk till now. And when we talk about the weather, I was talking to you of the weather, and he has to walk from his house to his office, is to walk back from his house to the office, and it is very very bitter cold, and he suffers from back pain due to chill weather. He discovers that his overcoat is thin and his lining is almost dis- discarded, is almost the overcoat is almost worn out, and it is so much patched that it is beyond reconciliation. The other clerks tease him as a man with an old dressing gown. And just think, the man who is appointed in the government sector as a clerk who used to copy the letters is going to the office with an old cloth. That's what the other colleagues of Akaki Bachmakin just make fun of him. He walks to his office with a happy frame of mind, happy, frame of mind, because he doesn't bother about what is happening around around him. And Akaki, what happens? He wants to remend that overcoat. He approaches a tailor named Petrovich, a tailor. Petrovich painfully tells Akaki that the overcoat cannot be mended. That's what the tailor tells. Petrovich tells Akaki Bachmakin that this overcoat can never be mended. I have tried my level best and it is beyond mending. And so many patches. When we have got bicycles, or when we have motorcycles, and if a bike gets punctured, how many punches can we patch it, take it to the shopkeeper, I mean, mechanic? He will put the patch, and if there are 100 patches in the same tube, and he will tend to replace it. It is beyond patching. The same thing happens with Akaki Bachmakin. He also, the tailor Petrovich tells it can never be mended. And even the clothes, small tiny pieces of clothes were removed from the collar. That's why the collar looks a little bit low, tiny. Let us see what the progress of the story is. Okay. Akaki is shocked when he listens to Petrovich. He firmly says that the overcoat is rotten. The word rotten is very important. Rotten here means it is almost used up to the full. The reaction of Petrovich and Akaki's way of responding indicates shocking things to Akaki Petrovich, because it is like an arrow which shoots to the heart of Akaki Petrovich, because he doesn't have money to buy the new clothes or new overcoat, and he needs overcoat because of the bitter cold in St. Petersburg. Without overcoat, he cannot go to work. And in order to buy a new overcoat, what he does, he bargains with the tailor and the price is reduced. In order to save some money to buy the new overcoat, he avoids his food habits drastically. He is possessed with ultimate only goal is to have a new overcoat. Petrovich stitches a new overcoat after agreeing to make some concession in money in the preparations of the overcoat. He brings the overcoat to Akaki and fits it perfectly. It was a warm, and Akaki lets out a little chuckle with pleasure. And with lots of bargain with Petrovich, Akaki just decides, well, how can he just save money? Because he has to reduce his food habits. And one day he has to fast. One day he has to sleep without food. And he has to avoid taking tea or coffee. And by saving all the amount, by saving like this, he can be able to possess a new overcoat. Finally, overcoat is ready, and the tailor Petrovich brings it to Akaki Bachmakin and fits it, and he feels so comfortable and he smiles. Next day, he walks to the office with happy frame of mind. When the clerks are surprised, they congratulate him possessing a new overcoat, and they stop teasing him. Akaki feels terribly embraced. He is at loss of explaining of his new overcoat. He tries to convince that it is an old one, but the people don't believe. People don't believe. People don't believe. ಬಂತು ಬಂತು ಬಿಡಿ, ಬಂತು ಬಂತು. So, technical issue, students, and we will continue. Akaki, Akaki now is a very happy man. He is welcomed by his friends or colleagues, and they stop teasing him. As the days passed by, they wanted to celebrate this moment because Akaki has brought or purchased a new overcoat. They have arranged a party near the hall. And Akaki never used to mingle with his friends. When Akaki goes to, when he is welcomed, he goes to his friend's house, and that is in the second floor where the party is being arranged because Akaki has purchased a new overcoat. So when Akaki goes there, when Akaki goes to his friend's house, he carefully leaves his overcoat on the table there. The party is in the second floor. His entry is greeted with tremendous hell, but soon he is abandoned by his friends and they pay their attention to their cards. So many people who are present there, they welcome him with lots of applause and with lots of sound, and he goes there, and as soon as he enters, he's forgotten. All the friends are with their friends and playing the cards, and people force him to drink champagne. Akaki thinks that he doesn't want to have it, but he has to have it, and finally he has one or two or three pegs, and finally when nobody is caring about him, and he walks out, and he wanted to just take his overcoat, and overcoat was found on the floor, and it is not found on the table where he is kept. Maybe somebody might have thrown him out there, throw it out there, and he is looks really upset, and he picks up the overcoat, and he thinks that this is the overcoat which brings him so much of happiness, because when we look into all the different aspects in which he has arranged the money to in order to purchase this new overcoat, so he knows the difficulty, so he takes it, and he was walking slowly in the streets of St. Petersburg. He notices so many things, so many activities there. So many people are standing there, lights are being switched off. And as he was walking, and he misses his way, and he doesn't go to his house, and he is leading himself to a deserted place where he feels that it is like a cremation ground or a burial ground, and it is a deserted a place where no one is found, and the watchman who is safeguarding that place, his house is situated quite far. The place where he stands is empty and lonely. That's what the description. The place where he stands is empty and lonely, and he senses something evil is happening around him. Something evil is happening around him. And finally, two people come there and attack him and snatch his overcoat, and he just flatly he sleeps on the ground. That means he's beaten up, and his overcoat is stolen. And he comes back, and he wanted to scream, but his mouth was shut with the hands, and he wanted to scream for the hell, but he was unable to do it, and he wanted to save his overcoat, but finally this overcoat was stolen. Overcoat is stolen, and he wanted to give the complaint to the people or complaint to the police station. When he approaches, and they don't take his case, and they ask him to meet the higher people, and he goes and meets so many people, but everything went in vain. Nobody has come forward to help him to get his overcoat. And he goes home with high fever. Akaki grumbles and mumbles and crushes about new overcoats to being stolen by thieves. And that is not evil spirit, but two thieves have come there and beaten him black and blue, and his overcoat was stolen. And he wanted to meet the important people in the village, but they could not help him. They could not help him. And we come to know at the end of the story that Akaki uh, has a high fever and is died, and nobody expresses sympathy for him. Nobody expresses sympathy for him because of high fever, and he is on the bed, and finally he dies. It is a satire on the attack of the society, attack of Russian society, where people, they don't care. And it is a satire uh, where the author tries to criticize the social evil that present in the Russian society. There is no love and affection shown to the people. There is no love and affection shown to the people. Here, through this short story entitled The Overcoat, through the character Akaki Bachmekin, the author is trying to attack the society. And look at the title as well, The Overcoat. The whole story revolves around Akaki Bachmekin. And even there is no life at all. The name which is given to Akaki Bachmekin, Bachmekin stands for shoe. And he is the man who dedicates himself to the work. Only thing which he knows is only copywriting. That is letter copying the letters. And what he has done to the people, he hasn't done any harm to the people. Even he is being teased by the people in the office. When the promotion is given to him, he just feels that he doesn't want to take it. He doesn't want to. He feels that the more responsibility will harm him. And only with 4,000 rubles or something yearly, he has to take care of himself. He has to pay the rent, and he has to take care of the food habits, all the things. And he's not in a position to buy the new overcoat. And overcoat is very necessary in order to work in St. Petersburg. If because of the if he doesn't have any overcoat, he will die of cold. That's what he tells. He's having a back pain because of severe cold in St. Petersburg. And when we look into all the aspects of that particular character, we feel so pity. Even when he is no more, when he died, nobody sympathizes with him. Even nobody has come, even his boss or even when his friends, nobody has come to see him. Nobody has come to help him out. And he looks like a heartbroken person. What he has done, he wanted to have only the overcoat. Akaki Bachmekin's only desire is to have a one new overcoat. But finally it is stolen. Condition of the society, how people mock at each other. Even the poor people are thrown out. They are not shown any sympathy on the people, those who are suffering. So this is what the story of Akaki Bachmekin, an overcoat. So let us move on to the next. It's quite interesting, another Russian novel. Don Quixote. Mescul de Cervantes has written this particular story. It's a novel, and this particular novel was written at the end of 16th and beginning of 17th century. This particular novel, Don Quixote, was published India between 1605 to 1615. Is a satire. It is a satire where the people are neglected. And when we search in the internet, the most famous novels of Russian literature, this Don Quixote comes first or second. And even you can say it in the internet as well. One of the main features of this author is servants and Shakespeare's death are same. They died on 23rd of April 1616. Quickly, without wasting any time, let us move to this novel. The novel has got two parts. First part set in Spain. Uh, First part is set up in Spain. Second part in some other place. So let us concentrate the development of the plot. And this particular story begins with a man named Alonso, and is a middle-aged man, middle-aged in the sense 35 to 36 years, and is a bachelor. He loves to read romantic and adventurous novels. He loves to read romance and adventurous novels. And after reading many novels, Alonso feels that he would become a good knight or a warrior, because this is the reflection of the story which he has read, and he wants to be like the characters in the novels which he has read. So Alonso names himself as Don Quixote, and he names his horse as Rocinante, and he names his beloved as Dulcinea. And we are not given any information about his beloved or his wife, or he's a bachelor, that's what I told you about his lover. He names his horse as Rocinate, and he names his beloved as Dulcinea. We don't know about anything about his beloved. Days are passed, and after reading many novels, he wore a armor clothes, and just he feels that he is one of the characters in the story, and he turns himself to be one of the characters. That's what we find in one of the movies like Nagavalli, Aptamitra movies and all. That he turns himself to be that particular character. Here, he harms himself, he wears the clothes of the warrior, and he goes out for the first war. Where he goes? He goes to an inn, INN. What is an inn? Inn is a restaurant or a bar. And he thought that inn to be a castle. And he went and told so many things about him to the people, those who are gathered in the bar. And is Don Quixote, and he's the warrior, and he's going to save the people. And there is a big clash between the people, and they beat him black and blue, and they hurt him so much that he bleeds. And he comes home and takes rest. He takes rest. And there are another two characters named Priest and Baba, and they are good friends of this Alonso, let us call as Don Quixote, and that's what he calls himself as, Don Quixote. Priest and Baba, both of them are very close to Don Quixote or Alonso, and they come to his house. They start burning all his novels, because he has become so much of mad because of these books, and they burn all the books. They burn all the books. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. And he doesn't doesn't realize how mad he is. How mad he is. And there is one more character named Sancho Sancho Panzu, that is one of the farmers. And after recovering, Don Quixote tells this farmer that he needs him to be his friend and he wants him to be his squire and he wanted him to work for him. If he works for him, and he would be made as the governor in one of the villages. And that farmer, Sancho Panzo, agrees with him, and both of them go out for the second war. And as they were traveling, they had met so many people, they had met so many enemies, and there is a big fight between the people. And they go there and they saw a windmill and they thought it is to be monstrous. They wanted to break down all the windmill. That's why people get angry and started beating them up. Beating them up. Even in the second war, because it's only the fantasy. He thinks that he is one of the characters. And it is a fantasy. That is the only reason why he gets beatings from the people. Okay, wherever they went, they enjoyed the company of the people, and the company, the people, even the people have enjoyed the company. And even there are one sects of the society where there are one group of people who don't like the attitudes of these Sancho Panzo and Don Quixote. That's why they get beaten up. And what happens? They go there to the place where the windmill is there, and they free some of the prisoners. They go there and free some of the prisoners, and prisoners, what they do in return, they stone them. They pick up the stones, they throw at Don Quixote and the farmer, his friend. Okay, while traveling they could meet so many types of people. Somewhere in they could meet some who are involved in the unhappy love affairs. Even they could attend some funerals. They have come, they have united few of the lovers. Don Quixote, his friend priest and the barber visit this particular place where they are. Yeah, Don Quixote, and they wanted to take Don Quixote to his native. They assume that Don Quixote has gone mad. Don Quixote has gone mad, and they wanted to bring him to the native. They thought him they thought of telling him so many things and wanted to bring him to his native. Here is where the part one ends. Don is totally disappointed. Is totally disappointed, and he is brought back to his native. After coming back to his native hometown, and he feels terribly upset because he is not allowed to go for war. He's not allowed to go for war. So here is where the first part of the novel ends. In the second part starts with Don Quixote getting ready for the third war. Only the fantasy, only he assumes. He goes for the third war, and he has got a student named Carrasco. Carrasco is student, and whenever or wherever Don Quixote went, and people liked him, and he has popularized his work among the people. Carrasco has popularized the works of Don Quixote. They became very popular. Ooh, the farmer and Don Quixote. And what happened? As they were progressing to the third war, they wanted to go to Alzobrio, that is name of the place, to get blessings from Dulcinea. Dulcinea, they don't know who she is, and Don Quixote thinks that she is the beloved. She is the beloved, and she doesn't want to, I mean, he doesn't want to meet anyone, but he wants to meet only Dulcinea. And they go in search of Dulcinea. No characters are found under this name, only their imagination. Sancho tells Don Quixote that the girl whom they met on the road is Dulcinea and none of them. And Don Quixote feels so sad that Dulcinea is in poor status. While they were talking about Dulcinea, the character named the Knight of White Forest, one more character, I'll tell you who is that, comes there and wanted to fight with Don Quixote and the farmer. And in that battle, Don Quixote wins. And the Knight of the Forest is none other than the own student named Carrasco. And why he wanted to fight? He wanted to beat Don Quixote and wanted to tell him that they are in the world of their own life, own world, in their own imagination, old imagination, and he wanted to make them to realize how the world is tough for them, and he wanted to take them to the native and wanted to make them realize that they are in the fake world. But when he loses the battle, he doesn't have any words to speak to him. Okay, Don Quixote and Sancho wanted to do different adventures, and they stop at a place where they meet a gentleman and they attend a rich wedding or a lavish wedding. They go and become friends of Duke and Duchess. As they were traveling, they go to different places and they meet Duke and Duchess and they become good friends. Good friends. Let us see what happens. Even Duke and Duchess, they've become great fans of Don Quixote and the farmer, and they greet Don Quixote with a warm welcome. The Duke came to know that Don Quixote has promised Sancho that if he became his friend or a companion, he would be made the governor of the village. That's what Duke came to know. And finally, his wish is going to be fulfilled. And he's made a governor of a small town. The Duke has made Sancho the governor of a small town. Duke thinks that only Sancho has the power to manage, and he has got the power to be a good governor. And he tries to be a good governor of the village. After a week, Sancho feels tired and he doesn't want to be the governor of the town, and he wants to, because he's missing his friend Don Quixote and wants to come back and work for him. And he starts new adventure with Don Quixote. Let us see further what happens. They go further and they meet some captain and a wealthy gentleman, and they become good friends. And again, there is a fight between the Knight of the White, and in that particular battle, the Knight of the White wins. He is none other than the student of Don Quixote, and his name, as I told you before, is Carrasco. Carrasco is the name, and he wanted to win the battle. He wins it, and finally he is made to take him to his own native, where Don Quixote is forcefully taken to his village and is made to realize that he is in the status of his fake, in his own fake world, and it demands him to go back to his native. And after coming back to home, and Don Quixote feels terribly depressed, and he goes to bed, and he doesn't want to meet the people, and finally he tells the people that there is no named character Don Quixote, and he tells that my name is Alonso. And after realizing his mistake, Don Quixote, that is Alonso, realizes his mistake and tells that, and he comes to his own sense that he was in the world of fantasy, and he informs the public or informs his friends that, and I am sorry for all these things, and I was in the fake world. I thought that I am going to be the character of that particular novel which I have read, and I have realized my mistake, and there is no character named Don Quixote, and he falls ill. After many days, Alonso dies of eye fever. And here is where the novel ends. And we have been into this is a psychological novel where a person thinks to be the other character and assumes himself to be the character of that particular novel where he can do many adventures. People there in the story there, Don Quixote wanted to go for the first war. He goes there and he gets beaten up. He goes for the second war. Even there he frees the prisoners and gets beaten and come back. And he is the man who lives in his own imagination. Is the man who lives in his own imagination and wanted to boost and wanted to tell the people that he is Don Quixote and who is the warrior. Is the warrior. And the name itself, Don Quixote, is a Spanish novel. It's a Spanish novel, and it is translated into many languages in the world. It is written in two parts. First part it is in simple in English. It is translated. Please go through your study material or the novel. If you want to purchase the novel, please read through. It is simple in manner where you can understand all the concepts. It's quite interesting. All the events are sequentially arranged where you can find all the characters are very, very important. Starting from Alonso to Priest and Baba. There are these are not the minor characters. They play a vital role, the Priest and the Baba, in bringing back Alonso or Don Quixote back to his native, where he will be made to realize that he is in the world of imagination. And even his student, Carrasco, wanted to help his teacher or help his master that he is in the world of imagination. But Don Quixote is not in this position, in good position to listen to anyone. Why? Because he assumes himself to be the warrior. He assumes that he can win the battle and he can become the king of the place wherever he goes. And that we are given so many instances. He attends a rich wedding. He even attends the funeral. He becomes a close friend to Duke and Duchess, and even the good opportunity or the good chance was given to the farmer to become the governor of a small town. But all these things are only the temporary and nothing else. So the novel ends in a sad note that Alonso dies of fever after many days. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you people. Please go through all this to wind up this class. So we have done today two classes. We have covered two topics. One is the Overcoat, written by Nikolai Gogol, and another is Don Quixote. It's a Spanish novel. And two of the literary pieces we see where two characters meet a tragic end. It's almost a first is a social satire on the society. What is satire? Satire is attack on the society indirectly through piece of writing. And we have to blame the society, not to ourselves. Overcoat, the story Overcoat is written in English in simple way. When you go, it is not a big story. It's a small short. That's why it's called short story, which is around 5 to 6 pages. Please read through each and every line. Even students, if you have a small short stories or the poetry for your exams, it's better to read the text once or twice before you go for your study material. Then only you will be able to learn then only you will be able to learn different aspects different aspects. Go through all the materials. Please read through between the lines and learn all the aspects, the important characters, name of the important characters, and the thematical aspects of the story or the novel. Then only you will be able to understand what that literary piece is trying to tell us. So, since it is the last class of mine, please read through. Very all the best. I wanted to cover one more textbook with you, but time is very short. And anyway, please read through, write your exams very well. And I have your number in the office. I can contact you whenever I need. Or if you have any doubts, students of final year, my number is available in the net. Please get it and please feel free to contact me to clarify your doubts. And all the best, students. Write your exams well and don't leave any questions unanswered. Whenever you get the question paper, please read through the question papers very carefully, and before that you should prepare well to face the examination. Without preparation, it's quite tough to face the examination. You should know the content, you should know the logic way of answering a question. Then only you will be able to get good marks. Don't write the exams for the sake of writing or getting passed. 35 is very easy to get if you write well. But if you want to be extraordinary, you have to put lots of effort. Thank you, students. All the best, and see you some other day. If you have any doubts, please feel free to contact me. Thank you. I'll wind up my class.